Hi, my name is Doug Coburn. I'm the executive pastor at Elam Gospel Church, and I wanted to talk with all of you and with these two wonderful people that I have here with me today about missions in our church. And missions is very important to our churches because it's really about discipleship, and it's super important because it's something that Jesus wanted us to do. And so today I'm here with two people here from Ugandan Water Project. James, you have been leading this organization, saying yes to Jesus, bringing clean water to Uganda for more than a decade. Thank you for everything you've been doing. And Jess, you've been on the ground in Uganda as a missionary, helping to move this mission forward. Thank you for the sacrifice and everything that you have done as well. It is amazing. And I wanted to first introduce UWP and then talk about missions and our churches.
The Ugandan Water Project as an organization exists to see the country of Uganda liberated from the bondage of waterborne disease and illness, so that the people in Uganda can become everything that they were created to be.
And we've been doing that for about 15 years. It's amazing to see that there's more than 1,000 communities in Uganda who have been impacted by the work we've done. And it means that there's hundreds of thousands of people here in the United States who have gotten to be part of it.
I think a really good question for us to talk about is why water? Why should a church be excited about supporting a missions organization whose primary mission is about water versus maybe Bibles, printing, and planting churches and things like that? So why water?
The truth is that there's no separation between physical problems and spiritual problems. Anything that is in the way and is an obstacle to individuals, families, communities, nations living their purpose in Christ is a spiritual problem. And when you have entire nations and communities, I mean millions of people who don't have their basic needs met, the reality is water becomes a very spiritual problem, and therefore we're providing it as a spiritual solution. And so we focus on water because it is a practical key, it's transformational, and it really turns the volume up on so much other work. It's great to plant churches, it's hard to do it in graveyards. It's great to educate children in faith-based education. It's really hard to do that when the children are walking for water.
People in the church who aren't experienced in giving to missions, and it's kind of a new thing to them, they get very practical needs. It makes sense to them. And they hear about this need of water, and it ends up being just kind of like an open window into getting into the room of missions giving. And this has allowed us to be able to get more people in the church onto being a part of missions and being part of what God is doing around the world just by putting a very practical need in front of them. And so we want to get new people involved in missions, and this is one of the ways that we've been able to do it.
We work with lots of different people. We work with individuals, we work with companies, we work with schools, but one of the things that we really love about working with churches is that people in churches have an understanding of the everlasting, the eternal part of the mission that we have, that this isn't just about relieving a temporary problem that we have today, but there's really an eternal purpose to what we're doing, because every one of these people that we're interacting with in Uganda or here in the US is created in the image of God. One unique thing about our organization in regards to being a missions organization is that while we have an international emphasis, we also have a local presence. We have a US presence and a US office. So that means that we're easily accessible to your church and to the people in your congregation.
I like that because as a pastor in my church, I really like the idea of people seeing their focus and their energy going to something that's across the world. But having a local-based mission organization really allows us to kind of keep that fire alive. Yes, we can send teams overseas and be a part of what you're doing in Uganda, but we can also run a local 5K and be a part of what's happening here. We can be able to have you guys come and visit us, or even be able to send people to go visit your office and be a part of what's happening. And this really helps us to be able to keep things very tangible for people and to be able to see missions stay at the forefront of what we're doing.
One of the things that we are just as passionate about, just as passionate as the impact in Ugandan communities, is the impact in your community. The fact that this is such a universal language. People need water to survive. That your church can actually take the vehicle of the Ugandan Water Project into all areas of their life and invite people to be part of it. Serving other people, serving the poor, advocating for this need. You can work your coworkers and your neighbors. I mean, you can work on a project, funding a water project for a school with your neighborhood and people that you live side by side with. You get to share this incredible experience. You can talk to family members and just anyone who's in your life already. There's an on-ramp to doing something together, and that shared experience is so powerful, and it takes the values of our faith in an easily acceptable context and says, hey, let's do this together, and that is transformational.
Very rarely can missions be an open door for evangelism in our communities. But with something that is a practical need like water, it is an open door for a conversation, often a conversation that leads to a relationship with spiritual significance.
Churches, pastors, leaders, we want to see your church come alive for missions. So reach out to me at jess@ugandanwaterproject.com so that we can start a conversation with you about how you can get your church involved, how your community can become engaged, and how you can meet a practical need of clean water while sharing the transforming love of Jesus.